So, you probably watched an ad which tells you you can take calls from your laptop 3 to 4 hours a day, make 10k a month with high ticket sales. That's probably what you've seen. And in this video, I'm going to show you what the reality of high ticket sales actually looks like. I think most people don't realize the level of work it takes to actually perform well, make good money in high ticket sales, and actually work your way up from being a rep to managing your own team, etc., etc. Right? Now, that beach lifestyle, that laptop kind of lifestyle, the reality is it's more so going to be like 10 to 12 hour working days. What I found was as a sales rep, I couldn't really work from like a coffee shop, or I couldn't really work from public places because I'm on calls with prospects, and it's just a little bit inconvenient unless you have an amazing noise cancelling mic, which I did at one point, but then it started hurting my head, so I stopped using that. And so you don't really get that laptop lifestyle, right? Now, for some people, sure, some people can take closing calls here and there. There's probably some offers where people do that. But if I'm being real and you really want to lock in and you really want to excel in what you're trying to do, let's say you're an appointment setter or you're a closer and you want to take as many sales calls and you want to be as stable as you possibly can in a consistent environment, you're going to be working from home, from your office or whatever it may look like, and you're not going to get up from there for the whole day, right? You're going to go to eat, maybe pray salawat, and then you're going to come back and you're going to go crazy. And that's what the reality of it looks like. Like, that's the first 6 months of high ticket sales basically look like that for me, especially the first 3 to 4 months. Then I think I made a load of money in like the third month or fourth month, and I naturally had a little dip, right? And that dip was not good actually, but the first 3 to 4 months was me just going absolutely crazy, no work-life balance, and that is what it looks like to be successful in high ticket sales. Like, if you have that as an expectation coming in, you are so much more likely to get the results that you actually want. And if that is not what you're looking for, high ticket sales is not the vehicle for you. Go elsewhere. Do something else. High ticket sales will not be it for you, right? And I want to mention this because, like, I think there's a lot of tactical videos out there, inshallah, that I'm going to be sharing with you guys, and some I've already put up. But in this video, I kind of just want to have a bit of a chat. And it's all to do with expectations, right? So look at in other areas of in other professions, right? If you want to be a doctor, like in the UK, if you want to work your way up and you want to be a doctor, it takes you probably like 8 years or even more if you want to get to consultant level or whatever it may be. And the kind of money that they're making, let's say you get to like that consultant level or whatever, let's say you're making about 100 grand a year. That's still after taxes like 5k, right? 5k pounds a month. And it's like, we're trying to achieve numbers and beyond that. Like 10k a month is probably like 8k pounds. We're trying to achieve numbers which are pretty high compared to the relative like general population. It takes doctors 8 years to get to their position. It takes other professions so many years to be able to get to that position. Yet with high ticket sales, we want it like this. And what's crazy is, like, there are people who within 6 months will get to that 10k a month mark. And with high ticket sales, you definitely can make that kind of money very, not easily, but way more easily than other professions. But I think the reason I bring that up is because you're going to get there a lot faster. You have to understand that there is a trade-off, and that trade-off is you are going to have to work like you've never worked before. That's the trade-off. If you want to try and achieve what a doctor takes 8 years to do, to be able to make, and you want to do that in a 6-month time frame, you can actually do it with high ticket sales, right? I know plenty of people who do this, but you're going to have to work like you've never worked before, and you need to shift your perspective on what hard work looks like in the high ticket sales space, especially if you're coming from a 9-to-5 background. Now, I came from a 9-to-5 background. You start work at 9, you finish work at 5, and that's it. You don't look at your company Slack. You don't do anything. But high ticket sales is just not like that. Especially if you want to be a high performer. I'm talking about if you want to be a high performer, right? Yeah, you could join high ticket sales and jump on an offer and work 3 to 4 hours a day. But in most cases, you will not make the money you want to make, right? And that's just the real like truth, right? So yeah, you can make life changing money. You can make more money than most people, most professions will. But you have to be willing to put in work that most people will never put in. And that's something that I think more people need to drill in here, right? Another thing is that when you're actually working in high ticket sales, there are certain things which can make the process more frictionful, right? This is just a sales game in general. You're going to be dealing with a lot of rejection, and yeah, when a deal closes, you get a quick dopamine hit. But the opposite side of that is when you're not closing deals and things are not going your well, and you're not booking calls, and your sales calls are going bad, and you're not running good discoveries, it starts to play on your mind, and it makes the whole process way more tedious. And it has like an emotional effect. It gives you like a bit of a low, right? And just like a sport, when you're losing, you have those lows. It's very frustrating, and it can start to affect your head, right? And that's why the best salespeople are those that can control their state way better than most people, right? They are more process focused and outcome detached. They're focused on the process, the outcome will come, but they're not focused on the outcome, right? And so bear in mind, you're not only working longer hours, but you're in a field which has a lot of ups and downs, right? You're going to be closing deals, and then you're not going to be closing deals, and your performance is going to be bad. And you're trying to be the top guy, but then you're not going to be that top guy for a certain period of time. And it's this, you have to be able to control your state. You basically have to learn to be like an athlete, right? That's just how it is, right? And then on top of that, not only is your state not completely stable, depending on how well you can manage that, your income is also not stable, right? Your income is not stable. There are months I've had in high ticket sales where I made like half as much as I did in my 9 to 5 job, right? But then there's been months where I've made double, triple what I would make in my 9 to 5 job, right? And this is why I actually got into it in the first place, because I wanted a high upside. But where there is no ceiling, there is no floor. Remember that. Let me say that again. Where there is no ceiling, there is also no floor. In a high ticket sales space, most offers will not offer you a base, right? Most roles will just be straight commissions only. Closers get 10%, setters get 5%. And so, yeah, you can make a load of money. That's going to be life changing, but you also run the risk of making absolutely no money because you're not on any base or you're not on a salary or anything like that, right? So bear that in mind. That's for most roles. Obviously, if you get into positions of leadership, that changes. Often, you're usually on a base plus whatever it may be. And some offers do offer a base. Some roles do offer a base. But generally speaking, when most people think of high ticket sales, like that is what it will look like. And so you have to be willing to and able to control your state. You also have to know the fact that every new month that starts, you're starting at zero again. You have to run it back up. You have to make a lot of money again. And so all of these things are, I want to paint a very realistic picture of what high ticket sales is. And I say all of this to say I would not change a thing about the decisions that I made. I left my 9 to 5 job. I'm like literally almost a year ago now. And I am so happy that I did that. I know that these trade-offs exist, but even with the trade-offs, alhamdulillah, I'm so happy I did it. But I think that the reason I mention these is because I wish I had somebody who would walk me through the process of what it actually looks like being in high ticket sales. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? Because people will try and sell you their program, their course, whatever it may be, and they will just talk about the amazing points of high ticket sales, right? You can technically sit on a beach and take calls. Yeah, you can, but it's like really hard and like it's really not that convenient, and you're definitely not going to be taking like 4 calls a day if you want to make good money, and like, you see what I mean? So I want to paint the most realistic picture of what it looks like getting into high ticket sales, and more so speaking about the more specific things on a day-to-day basis and what you come across. And if there's one thing that I've learned about high ticket sales, is that it forces you to grow very, very fast. You have to improve your communication skills, your confidence does go up, you learn that you can actually be more disciplined because you work like you've never worked before. And like the most important point is about that emotional control, right? When you start to have a lot of ups and downs, after a bit you actually do start to get into a flow of just focusing on the process. Like the process is what matters, the results will come. I need to focus on the process. So it builds these traits within you if you can stick at it, if you can show up consistently, right? And so I think high ticket sales is not for everybody. And like, I really want to emphasize this. It's not for everybody. If you are looking to leave your current 9 to 5 or to make more money than you can possibly make, and you want to work remotely, and you want to learn the skill of sales so that you can take that as an entrepreneur for your own, business or whatever, it is so worth it. It is so worth it. And the main reason why I wanted to get into high ticket sales was I just wanted to get out of my 9 to 5 job and do something remote online where I can just make money online. I hated working my 9 to 5. I really did not like it. And I wanted the ability to be able to make more money. But the expectation that I came in with was, if I'm just able to replace my 9 to 5, then I'm happy. Yeah, I'm seeing people do like 10K a month and I wish to get there, but my expectations were actually very much on point. And that's why I felt like when I got into the space and I got my first paycheck, which was actually just a little bit more than my 9 to 5 job, that was my first month, I was like over the moon. But if I compare that with somebody else's expectations and they're expecting to be able to make like 5K straight off the bat, 10K the next month, then you might be let down a little bit because you're thinking, okay, I've heard about this high ticket sales thing and it's amazing. Why am I not making 10K a month? And so setting your expectations to what it's actually like is going to help you stay content. And you need to be able to stay consistent in this game if you want longevity and if you want to grow. It's so important. Consistency is everything. So, high ticket sales is not easy. It's not a convenient. It's not really going to give you time freedom. But if you're willing to put in the work, it can completely change your life. And me personally, just to end on this note, I would not have it any other way. If I could go back 10 times and I was faced with the exact same decisions, would you leave your 9 to 5 for high ticket sales? I'd take that every time because I'm so much happier. I'm making more money, alhamdulillah. And I am not necessarily time free, but I am location free. And I feel fulfilled with what I'm doing, especially as I rise up the ranks. And I'm now in a position of leadership, alhamdulillah. So I'm learning those skills which, like those next level skills, like, so you start as a sales rep, then you become a manager, right? Then you learn a different level of skills, right? And then as you go up and you do more and more, alhamdulillah. So yeah, I love it. I'm absolutely a big advocate for high ticket sales, but not for everyone. I'm not an advocate for everybody. I don't think everybody should do high ticket sales. I think if you're ready to put in 10, 12-hour days, if you want to be able to, at least at the beginning, just replace your 9 to 5. If you have these realistic expectations, great. Go ahead, get into high ticket sales because it can completely change your life. By Allah's tawfiq. Hopefully that was helpful. I'll catch you guys on the next one.